Hello everyone, this is Let's Connect and I am Rishara Ganguly. Today we will be in conversation with the prolific director Aarambh Singh about his series Bekaaboo Season 2 as well as his other projects which have garnered a lot of praise and love from the audience. So thank you for joining me in this interview. How are you feeling today?
Thank you so much. It's good weather. I am in my hometown after hectic schedule of Bekaaboo. I just came to take a break. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, so first order of business. How did the ideation of Bekaaboo Season 2 come about?
So basically, Bekaaboo has been a successful series in season one already. Okay, it had three characters called Kashti and Aisha and Kian, and it was a story of a writer who is, who is a bestseller, and what happens is he had certain bad habits which he was using basically to be more creative in his writing. So and he was about to get married, and he had a great fiance, and suddenly comes another girl called Kashti, and his downfall begins. And later he gets to know that actually also his own fiancee Anaisha was also involved into bringing her down. Obviously he gets arrested, and he comes back in the end of the series saying that he will come and take revenge. So season two starts with Kian coming back to take the revenge from Anaisha and Kashti both. And Anaisha is already a successful writer now. She's a published writer, and Kashti is running a cafe. And the season two is all about how he comes back and takes the revenge. So, but very interestingly, when we thought about the second season, obviously the production house and the writers have done an amazing job in terms of layering the characters. We introduce a lot of new characters, and we make the story honestly pretty twisted. That the feedback that I've been getting, all the reviews that I've been getting, audiences is like, sometimes people stop watching in middle, and whoever has an access to me, they call me and ask, can you please tell me like what will happen next, because they can't wait. So that has really worked. Okay, and this is also the first time that on a OTT platform, like usually one web show is obviously one genre. Okay, and this time in Bekaaboo we have done a kind of amalgamation of two different genres. So that's a very interesting thing which we tried for the first time, and I believe it has worked because it has kept the audience hooked, and everybody is just like killing it. They are doing all binge watching the show, so that's interesting.
Yes, I have also heard a lot of praise from a lot of people about your
Yeah.
series. So, looking at Bekaaboo season 1 and how it was such a hit, why was there a need to kind of show the other side of the story? Why was there a need to show, um, the opposite side of the story, so to say?
Okay, so it's not. It's more so what happens is nowadays, because OTT platform is a pretty binge watching medium. Okay, and audience want to watch again and again. So nowadays, what happens is, if, forget about Bekaaboo, any season, any series that we pitch to OTT platform, they look for minimum of two seasons. Okay, because audience finishes it, and then they are looking forward to watch something more. So that's the reason two seasons is minimum of most of the series. Even if you end, like the first season ended with him going to the jail, but obviously we showed that he comes out and then he will take the revenge. So audience really waited, and especially with the super hit shows, so it's for sure that they will bring the second season. So this is not more of a other side of the story. It's more like the continuation of the story. Okay, where when somebody is hurt, obviously they'll come back and they'll take the revenge, and what happens next. So that is more so the reason. It's more about the new viewing culture which has come in, how people started binge watching the shows, and they like series with multiple seasons. So that's the reason this has been taken care of.
Right. So you spoke about the characters that are there and the twisted characters that are there in the series. So, what were the table discussions like when sketching out these characters? Because it is a series adaptation from Nomonil Chakraborty's book Black Suits. So, how did you kind of visualize these characters to come alive on screen?
So basically, to be honest, when they were doing, like Akshay Chaubey is the one who has directed the first season. I have directed the second season. So Akshay and Novanil and the dialogue writer Web Hamod, we were involved in sketching the thing, and also the platform, the alt team was also involved. So I came towards the end, but what I understood is that the our main focus was that nowadays audience watch anything, as more like a they want to sit in a power position. They want to know that okay, this is what the character will do, or that will happen. It's more like we wanted to ensure while writing the characters that nobody can guess what is going to happen. So whenever we used to write or anything, or we used to discuss something, we used to involve new people and narrate it to them to ensure if they can guess it. If they can guess it, we used to change it, and we used to go on to the another set of ideas. So it took a lot of time. The whole team sat for almost a year, okay, reworking the thing. That's the reason also it came in 2021, while the first season had come in 2019.
Right. And that is like a very interesting detail, because I mean, actually speaking to the people who are going to watch the series later on, to like kind of guess what's going to happen, I don't think I've ever heard of a process like this. So I mean, that's a very
Yeah.
brilliant thing that you've done, and I'm very
Yeah.
impressed by it. But with Jamai 2.0 and Bekaaboo now, you kind of seem to be really comfortable when it comes to erotic thriller. So, and looking at how OTT platforms have come under the purview of INB, there is a need to kind of address the elephant in the room, and how free should creative liberty actually be when it comes to digital content?
I'm really glad, honestly, that you asked this question. Okay. Anyways, between Jamai and Bekaaboo, Jamai was a family show. It's very much a family show. Whatever you see in little bit in the trailer, the girls walking out in the bikini is not really. I would not call it erotic in any ways. And now Bekaaboo, though it has a lot of erotica involved into it because it was a thriller, and you cannot separate, actually, honestly, in a lot of ways, that thriller or it doesn't only mean that okay, somebody's getting killed, some murder is happening. It's more about keeping the audience on the edge, giving them something which is very, very interesting and new. So Bekabu, you can say okay, it's a psycho thriller, that's what I would prefer to call it. But yes, it has erotic scenes into it. I would not deny that, and it's very much there as well. So honestly, I have been, when I was doing Bekabu also, and we knew that the whole the new supervision has come in onto the OTT platform, and I understand why it has come. Okay, so as a filmmaker, I'm not in any kind of a denial mode, or if I call myself a new artist, to be very honest. I am not those old artists who are sitting under a tree with a jhola and thinking that I'm doing something really creative. I understand that we are creative people. We are making a certain thing. It has a business involved as well, because nobody would want to make anything which is not getting them money, because a lot of money goes into making it. But then I also understand that you do not have to go overboard, and you have to go cheap to sell something. Okay. So when the discussion was happening, I was pretty okay with the idea of a certain kind of supervision coming onto the OTT platform. But then again, I will question how much. Okay, because I'm an MBA graduate. I have been a HR guy before coming into films. There is something in economics called demand and supply. A lot of time people confuse that something is coming in the market, so people are consuming. Anything coming in the market is coming because there is a demand, otherwise it will not. Like, I'll give you an example. Game of Thrones, majority of Indian teenagers have seen Game of Thrones. Okay. And much before OTT came into India, they had downloaded it, they have watched it. Okay. And I'm talking about this, like, before 2016 also, people had watched Game of Thrones. There is nothing in Game of Thrones that we can compare that is we have still not reached, we are not showing total frontal nudity on public platform yet. So I'm saying that it was never that OTT platform started showing a certain amount of thing and people started getting hooked to it. People have already been watching. You cannot sell anything which people don't require. That is one thing. So that is answering the fact that why it is happening. Then on OTT, there is so much of erotic scenes are happening and all that. Now, secondly, if you'll ask me as an artist, I feel that let me just talk about myself. When I read a screenplay, anything which is forced, which is not required, I remove it. I don't do it at all. If you watch Bekaaboo, also there are several scenes. So there is a scene where the girl is not interested in making out. Okay, so in such scenes, I have ensured that she has not even removed her clothes. Okay, that's a basic logic of the storytelling. That if somebody is not interested, they will not go all out.
Right.
So they are performing the scene. They are not doing it unnecessary for titillation purpose. So that is me as a director. I always ensure that I read it. I question the writers or the channel that why are we doing this scene if this is not required. So that is how I'm taking care of myself. Now, also coming to the fact that I am okay with bringing some certain amount of censorship, but as they say that the medium went so overboard with erotica that censorship had to come. In the same way, I think when censorship is coming, they don't have to be overboard with certain things. Like now, I have also heard that they are going on to the words, like what kind of slangs and words and everything. Now imagine, I come from, my hometown is Banaras. I'm sitting here in my own hotel. So now imagine, I am looking forward to make, I have done gloss, I have done thrillers, I have done youth. I want to do something very textured this time, like something like Andeki, which is on Sony Live, or something like Bichu Khel, which came on Alt. Now Bichu Khel was based in Banaras, and in Banaras, if you'll come, there is a certain character to Banarsi people. They use slang. It's a part of their conversation. It's not like they'll think and then they will say it. So imagine if I make a show which is based in Banaras and I show a guy who is from Banaras and he's not using slang at all because censorship has ensured that they cannot use slang, then how are they the real character? Because cinema or OTT web shows, they are the mirror to the society. If you see, if I'm showing a Delhi guy, how do you know? I mean, without even them holding a placard saying that I am from Delhi, how do you know they are from Delhi? Because the way they talk, the way they behave, right? That's how you know. So I'm just worried that with this overboard of censorship, it should not happen that we are, losing out on the reality of the characters. That should not happen. And also, one thing people confuse a lot. I have a 5-year-old daughter. There is self-supervision, which is important. Internet is a personal medium. People watch it in their personal spaces. So it's a responsibility of an individual that what they are watching, what is their kids watching. When you are not adult enough, obviously your parents are responsible to keep a watch on what you are watching or what you are doing, for that matter. It is not we don't have to involve the government for it, like how it happens at abroad, that you have certain certificates, certain films you cannot watch. There is a parental guidance which is important. Otherwise we will kill the art. Like imagine, if you start, do you paint ever? Do you do painting or anything?
No, no, I don't paint.
Okay, so what is one art form that you do? Tell me.
I sing, kind of.
Okay. So now you start singing. I'm standing right behind you. You start to sing. I said, no, 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 don't sing like this. Sing like that, okay? And then you say, but this I'm supposed to sing it. This is the rag. No, no, no. You can't sing this rag this way. You sing it that way because that way is what I feel preferred. You think you will be honest to the art?
No, no.
So that's the thing. Imagine I'm making a painting and I'm already drawn a box. You cannot paint outside the box. You can't use blue for the sky. Let's use green. Will the sky be sky?
No.
So that's my explanation for it. So everything is good. I'm saying censorship is required, which is fine. Let's not get overboard with it. Let's not kill the art form, because a lot of my friends have actually left the industry in lockdown, because they were really, really frustrated. Several things. What happens is when you get overboard with anything in life, you will kill the artist. They will leave the industry. A lot of talented people have already left. They will not make it. So my worry is that.
And you're very right to worry about that, because it actually is a very, I mean, right now it is a worrying situation, because as you said, there are a lot of things that do go overboard, and responsibility should be on both sides. It shouldn't be burdened on one side so as to tip the scales. So, and you also spoke about how Western entertainment is looked at through a different lens, and Indian entertainment is looked at through a different lens, because Indian audiences already been privy to the Western kind of the way they show thrillers, or the way they show nudity, or the way they behave towards nudity. And so it's nothing new to the Indian psyche per se. And that is what my next question also leans into. I mean, you have been in the entertainment industry, you've seen it evolve, and how, like, what similarities or differences do you find in the Indian and Western psyche when perceiving stories that subscribe to the genre of thriller or to the genre of erotica?
See, honestly, there is. I have done my education in filmmaking, so I have seen world cinema a lot before coming to the industry. So obviously, I can see a certain amount of comfort which is given to them. There is certain amount of freedom, so they make it. When you give a certain amount of freedom to them, they do it comfortably. Okay, that's the reason sometimes their things are not looking very sketchy or very unidimensional. You know, that's the kind of comfort that I'm looking forward in Indian, OTT platforms and films. That you should be comfortable to be able to say certain things. Otherwise, what happens is in the discomfort of being a filmmaker, we end up making the product more worse. Okay, that's the reason it doesn't touches the audience actually half the time, because sometimes we are walking on so much. Either the filmmaker becomes so frustrated that they end up being very very ruthless about what they are trying to say, or they become so careful that nothing you are feeling as our audience. So that's one thing which is which is different between both the arena, like whether it's Western filmmakers and filmmaking, or whether it's Indian. But I would not say that it's not growing. India has grown leaps and bounds. We had seen the times where I would take it. Let me give you an example, like Lipstick and a Burqa, which was made by Alankrita. Is the film which she made with a lot of hard work, and she struggled to release it for a long time, till it got released. And when you watch the film, you see that it is, for me, it's a remarkable film because it pushes the envelope. Okay, it tells the other side of the women, which Indian society always tried to shut it. You know, uh, I mean, obviously, it talks about women's sexual pleasure and how they see it. While it exists, the society has always shut it and tried to present it in a certain way. So that film is a good example of pushing the envelope and telling people that, okay, this is what their desires are all about, and it's fine. Okay, and until you show it, nobody will believe it. Okay, a lot of people, lot of my women in my family has watched it and they loved it and they related to it so much. That is one film that I'll give you an example. And then again, film like English Winglish. Okay, like it, English Winglish is such a story, and it came when we were seeing all Dabang and everything in the market, and suddenly comes English English as a fresh breeze, which I would why I'll say ki how our industry is growing, that somebody agreed to put in money to that film, right? And somebody agreed to show a story of a simple woman who doesn't know how to speak English and is making laddus at home. It touches you. So our filmmaking is also growing. So the newer producers have understood that it's not all about a hero and beating the villain. It is a new set of filmmakers who are out in the market, who are making a slice of life film, who are making a film which actually does some kind of change in the society. Another good example is Pink. When you watch Pink, it felt in the theater. A lot of my male friends have been so honest about it. They said that it felt like the film is talking to them directly. That how they see a woman and how they should see a woman. And I became a filmmaker, and trust me, I don't think so anybody becomes a filmmaker to make money. We become filmmaker because there is so much that we want to say, okay, and we are not able to say it. Or there is so much that we want to change in the society and we are not able to change in the society. And filmmaking is such a medium It's one of the most powerful medium in art forms because it is audiovisual. It is reaching to the senses of the audience. So everybody who has chosen to be a filmmaker, they have chosen to be a filmmaker to say something. If you allow them to say something, trust me, they can bring in a lot of change. That's what I feel.
That's very true. And as you said, filmmaking is a very powerful medium. And looking at the audience, how they perceive how they perceive stories. I mean, it can be escapism as well as it can be mirroring the reality and kind of showing them the truth, as Mando said. So, you have chosen a very democratic platform to tell your stories because OTT is kind of such a medium that subscribes to everyone. I mean, it doesn't bar anyone from itself. So, why did you choose such a democratic platform, such as Alt Balaji, to kind of put your stories forward?
Okay, so I have done a show for. Actually, I have done shows on all the platform almost. I started with the Hungama play. My Damaged was their launch show. Then I did a show for Woot. Then I did a show for Alt. Then I did a show for Z5. And then I did a show for Alt. Honestly, training, since you asked about Alt, I'll tell you one thing. When you go out and you have to send a message across to majority of the people, you want the majority to be there. And when you want to say something, you want it to reach to the maximum audience, maximum people, for them to spread it ahead. And OTT is a good platform. A lot of people are watching it. And Alt, as per the, I think, last month report, Alt is the number one in terms of subscription when it comes to India. Okay, so they had the maximum subscription after Hotstar. So obviously, that also becomes one of the reason of choosing a certain OTT to voice what you want to say.
And you're quite right. I mean, going forward, I think digital platforms are going to be, if not already, are the future of entertainment in India as well as the world. So, have you faced any intrusions though from Alt Balaji while sketching out bold scenes? Because you talked about how there were certain scenes you didn't want to do, and but they were like kind of put in front of you, but you didn't want to do that because there was no necessity to do it. So, was there any intrusion that you faced from any OTT platform that you worked with before?
Honestly telling, Ekta is very clear about one thing. Once she chooses a director, she has told her team that, give them utmost respect because they are the one who are creating it. So she never comes into it. That's the reason the team, no matter, even if they have suggestion, they suggest. Okay, because understand that, every, like when there is a channel person, they are the face of the channel. Okay. And there is certain audience to the channel and they want to stick to the image and the branding that they have had. So it's their job to speak what they feel is right or wrong. So they are usually on around the set, ensuring that nothing is going against their image. So I do not mind their suggestion, but by end of it, they are very very open to the idea of when I explain them something, that why I'm doing this. They were pretty open. Okay, so it was a very very smooth ride when it comes to working with Alt, to be honest.
That's great to hear. And lastly, I would just like to ask you about your future projects and what you're looking forward to in this year or the years that are coming.
With Bekaaboo, it was my fifth series, and it was after a long time that I had, worked back to back on two series with no breather, no time. I literally shot both the series in 4 months, and they both have released already. So I'm taking a little time off to basically rejuvenate. And also, I am currently working on my feature length film. So I'm completing that script because I come from a generation where by end of it, we all want to make a film. So, so basically, I'm working on that. I have taken some time off for that, and also there is already a bunch of ideas which have been pitched to other OTT platforms, and I'm waiting for them to go on the floor. So as soon as that happens, I will be going ahead and shooting those.
That is amazing news, and I hope that your future projects find as much success as your present projects have found. And I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for joining me in this interview. It was lovely to have a conversation with you about OTT platforms. We discussed a lot about OTT platforms and about how what creative liberty really means in this era of actually, I don't even know what to say, but yeah, well. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.
And I'm really glad, a lot of time when there is an interview, I become very skeptical because the kind of questions they'll be asking. But I really appreciate the right questions that you asked, and because I really wanted to talk about them. And I hope that a lot of people see this interview and realize that what exactly I mean with what I'm saying. And rest is cool. I'm hoping to connect with you guys again whenever we are doing another project.